Hi everyone, today I'm going to be talking about indie makeup. Indie makeup meaning not mass produced, not brands that you might be able to find in Sephora or Priceline, pharmacies like that. Basically they're just smaller companies, sometimes set up by small people, maybe one or two people who've just gone in and decided to create their own makeup brand. Some of these brands I found on Etsy, other ones I just have an online presence. As most of them, I think all of them, they don't have a particular physical storefront, it's just online presence only. So I guess that those are my qualifying factors when I talk about indie makeup. I guess the reason why I'm doing this video is because I feel like there isn't enough hype around them. I don't know, that's not really the reason why. Why am I doing it? Just because I want to. And to be honest, look how much indie makeup I have. Surely, and this is just one, drawer, surely I'm qualified by now to be talking about it. So the first brand that I want to talk to you about is Fyrinnae, and they are a brand that I discovered several years ago when I first kind of got into indie makeup. But at that time I didn't really wear much eyeshadow because I wasn't very comfortable with wearing too much, and yeah, I just never wore eyeshadow very much. So when I sort of started wearing it a bit more, I wanted to go back and order a few more because I actually noticed that my original collection of Fyrinnae shades were predominantly like nude shades, kind of muted, and I wanted colors that were a bit more insane, a bit more colorful. Because I have a lot of nudes in my collection already, I wanted to buy something that wasn't in my collection. So I tried to choose things that were a little bit different, and in this case my favorites are all colorful colors. The first one is Mephisto, and this is like Fyrinnae's most popular color, I believe, or most hyped about color, because it is such a beautiful duochrome shade, and it's this dark purple with maroon undertones, and it sort of also has a little bit of pink in it as well, and it is sort of, depending on what you use underneath it, it can be metallic or quite muted and almost like a matte finish. I do use all of the Fyrinnae eyeshadows with Pixie Epoxy, which is their mixing medium, because I feel like once you apply Pixie Epoxy to your lid and then add the shadow, it just makes it 10 times more intense, and it just really brings out the color. I know that some people have had issues with it creasing and all that sort of stuff. I find for me that it doesn't, but I do only add the tiniest bit of Pixie Epoxy and put it all over the mobile lid and wait for it to sort of set a little bit before applying it, because otherwise it can get a bit clumpy, which you don't want. And then it will stay on my lid for pretty much the whole day. It does not move on me, and I do have oily lids. So the second shade I picked was Dress to Kill, and this is a beautiful olive shade that has gold shimmers to it, and it is really, really beautiful. I think it's also sort of got a little bit of browns in it too, brown shimmers, and yeah, bronze more like than brown, and it is a very beautiful shade. So another one that I've got is called Lucky Charmed, and this one is more of a yellow green, and it is beautiful. It swatches so beautifully. It doesn't feel as dry as some of the other shadows, and it is like very, very, it's a shade that definitely makes your eyes pop and stand out. So, maybe not necessarily an everyday color, but it is a gorgeous color, and I don't feel like I've got anything like this in my collection. The next I'll be showing you are more warmer tones, and I am a real sucker for burgundies, reds, oranges, so these two naturally would be in my collection. These ones are in a mini size because you can get different sizes from the Fyrinnae website, from the full size, which I think is 3 grams, if I'm not mistaken, to the mini sizes, which I think is maybe 1/4 of a teaspoon, or maybe it seems more than that. But the first one is the Arcane Magic, and it's in Velvet Vampire, and this is such a beautiful red shade. It's more a maroon shade, and it's got like pinks in it, golds in it, and it's just so beautiful. It's almost like a reddish rose gold, but yes, deeper than a typical rose gold. And this one is called Bonfire Spirits, and this is a deeper, again, maroon, and it doesn't have those pinks that the other shade had. It's got more red shimmers, green shimmers. Yeah, I've swatched all of these for you so you can sort of see how much complexity each of these shadows have, and they just add so much to the lid, and it just deepens it and makes it more interesting. So I really like to add these generally like on top of a matte, you know, base, and then maybe add this in the crease and sort of smoke it out, and it looks really gorgeous. But there's so many ways you could use these. The second brand I'll be talking about is one that I discovered more recently, and this is by an Australian company called Femme Fatale, and they have beautiful, beautiful shades, which is why I made an order not that long ago and bought a lot of colors. But these are my top 4 colors. I've got, I think I bought maybe 20 shades, but this is, yeah, the highlights, the creme de la creme of the ones I've used. And I did also buy their primer because I figured that this is specifically made for the Femme Fatale eyeshadows, so just try it out and see how I like it. Now, I think it feels very, yeah, it's got a silicone base, so it just slides over the lid and it sort of dries. It doesn't feel wet. But yeah, I'm not sure how much I like this. I actually have the Concrete Minerals one as well, and it's also silicone based, but I actually prefer this one a bit more because it doesn't flake off as much. I feel like there's a lot of flakiness to the primer, or I'm not sure if I'm applying it right or something, but it does sort of flake a little bit on me, whereas the Concrete Minerals doesn't. And this is a fantastic primer. It actually is great for if you've got Natasha Denona eyeshadows. It works so well with it. I've tried lots of different primers under those eyeshadows in particular and find that this one's the best. So I did, under all my swatches for the Femme Fatale ones, use one dry and then also with the eye primer Eyeshadow Magic. So the top ones I've picked are, well, their famous one is Candied Apple. It is a really gorgeous red with a green undertone because it's got green shimmers in it, but the red is sort of like a soft red. It's not a very strong red, so it actually looks really great just swatched all over the eye and blended out. It just looks a great color by itself. It is one of my favorite shades from out of all of my loose eyeshadows because it's so understated but beautiful and different, and I think my sister said the same, so it's really, really good. So if you decide to try Femme Fatale, this one is a highly recommended color. The next one I've got is called Ochre Poppies, and this is the shade that I'm actually wearing today. It's sometimes annoying to see though, I mean, compared to the Fyrinnae ones, because they haven't got a clear jar. I store all of mine with the title, with the name of the eyeshadow up because it's, you know, I can't see the color, which is somewhat annoying, but it is a very beautiful color, and it's the duochrome again because it's kind of like got it's like a burnt red with pink shimmer to it, and in my swatch, hopefully you can see it, it comes off very, it's slightly muted, so it's not a really crazy shimmer, but you can sort of see those pink undertones to it. And it is what I'm wearing in the crease, and it's a very beautiful color. All of these ones, I believe, are vegan, and some of them are, some if not all of them, because all of these ones look lip safe as well. So I think that's a really great thing as well about these indie cosmetic brands, is most of them are vegan and they're not tested on animals, and I think that's great. The next shade I've got is Dr. Eeek, and this is a pink shade. And I've actually recently bought a lot of sort of pinks to add to my collection because I was watching a tutorial that one of my favorite YouTubers, Rose, was doing, and she did this beautiful gradient pink eye look on her with a pink, like a sort of like a, I think it was a pink winged liner too. And I was wanting to mimic it, and I did not have any pink shades. So I decided to pick this one up, and it is really gorgeous. It is pink, but it's got like green shimmers to it, and it's really, really beautiful. It's not like a Barbie pink or anything like that. So I feel like this is kind of more wearable in a way. And I have worn it before. I think I've shown you in my Instagram, maybe like a month ago, I did a look with this color. And also, last but not least, is Marauders. It is a blue shade, and it is really, really pretty. It's sort of like a grayish blue with green shimmer to it, and it is really, really beautiful. I really like blue colors, and I don't wear them often enough, but I will try and incorporate this one more into my looks. And yeah, it's just a really beautiful shade. If you're looking for a blue like this, you can't really go wrong. And it's just so shimmery and beautiful. And I'm like a magpie. When I see something shimmery, my eye just goes straight to it. So that is why most of these are shimmery. I actually feel like indie makeup brands do shimmer colors really well. It is quite hard to do a good matte, and there are a few in my collection. I think there is one in particular that I really like, and that's by Shiro Cosmetics as well, a color that I'm using on my face today, and I will show you which one are my favorite from Shiro. So Shiro Cosmetics, I picked out 3 of my favorites because I really like them. I think they're really different in the sense that they've always got characters or actors like Nick Cage on their packaging, and it's just a bit more fun and has more character, I guess. They title their eyeshadows with names that are inspired by films or books or whatever like that. So I think that's just, I guess that's what popped out as different to all the other ones that I've had a look at. Now my first favorite is a shade that I'm wearing on my mobile lid. It's called Violet Soul's Everything. I thought this was actually a matte color, but then as I inspect it, it's actually got shimmers. So it looks like all the shades in my collection are actually shimmery. But if you've noticed in my swatch that I'll do, when I apply it on top of a primer, like the Concrete Minerals Electric Eye Primer, it definitely mutes the shimmer to it, so it doesn't shine as much, which is interesting. So if you didn't want to have the shimmer too strong, maybe that's something that you can think about in its application. However, having said that, you know, the shimmers in this are so finely milled that when I first looked at it, I couldn't really tell that there were that many shimmers unless really, really inspect it. As you can see on my eye, it's not a very shimmery look. So if you're someone that prefers like a more matte finish, then I think this is a very nice burnt orange shade. I'm a real sucker again for burnt colors, so this is really a favorite. The next one is called Nick Cage Raking Leaves on a Brisk October Afternoon, which is such a strange name, and it's kind of weird that his face is on the packaging, but yeah, it's a shadow that I sort of saw a lot of reviews on before I was purchasing from Shiro. I decided to have a look at different reviews and see what other people were recommending from this line, because I'd never tried it before and it's really fairly new to me. And I found this one and that it was a holy grail from Shiro, so I decided to pick it up because I think that if, you know, I hadn't seen it and just relying on the images from the website, I probably wouldn't have picked it up. I think that it's actually very useful to have a look at reviews, because rarely on the websites you see actual swatches. You do see like a photo of what it looks like in the pot, but sometimes it looks very different once it's swatched on your hand or even on the eyelid. So I did a lot of research before purchasing. And this one is a really beautiful taupe brown shade, and it's got a lot of shimmer to it. It is very, very shimmery. It's got gold shimmers, orange shimmers, brown shimmers, and it's a very nice color. It's actually the color I'm wearing on my lower lash line at the moment. But it doesn't, again, it doesn't actually come off that shimmery once I blended it out. I'm sure if you want to pack it on, yeah, the shimmers will really show up. But yeah, it's a really nice color. The last one is called Gems Are Outrageous. And when I first got my purchase, I swatched them all and I posted a photo on Instagram. And this one was one that really stood out to me because it was just so brilliantly blue. And this one is a more, I guess, a more, it's not as grey as the other shade from Femme Fatale Marauders. This one has blue shimmers to it as well. And it is just a very beautiful blue shimmery shade. So it's really nice. I'm really liking it. All of these shades have the ingredients listed, and again, that's something that I look for when I purchase from indie brands, is that I make sure that they are actually listing their ingredients, because there are lots of vendors that are sellers that are selling cosmetics and making them on Etsy, but they should actually be listing it with the ingredients, because I think it's good to know what exactly is in it, especially if you're allergic to a particular ingredient or sensitive to it, or it's a particular ingredient you don't want in your eyeshadow. So it's something that I look for as well, and all these brands do, so that is a positive. The next brand I'm going to show you is called Impulse Cosmetics, and they're actually a brand that sort of piqued my interest because I saw on their website and on Instagram that they were doing these really cool duochrome lip lacquers. And then when I went on there, I saw that they were doing eyeshadows as well, and some of their shades look so amazing, so that I decided to pick some up. So I've got 4 with me at the moment that are my favorites. The first one is called Poison Apple, and again, similarly to Candied Apple, it's the whole, you know, red with a green undertone sort of concept to it. But this one is a lot more intense because the red is more like a plummy, strong red rather than a light pale red that Candied Apple has. So this one you can create sort of more intense looks, and it's really, really gorgeous. You know, I haven't seen colors like this anywhere else. So yeah, to me this is a very unique shade, and I have nothing like this in my collection. The next one, it's actually hilarious because I realized that I picked up 2 of the same shade in Macabre Moon. This is a really gorgeous blue shade, like it's a true blue with a gold undertone to it, and the gold shows really strongly. It's not so much, it's like really, really finely milled gold to it, and it really shows up so beautifully when swatched. So that must be why I've accidentally put 2 in my purchase. And then there's also one that it actually didn't come with a back label, so I was trying to figure out the name for it for a while, and I realized that this one is called Bellatrix, and again it's a pink shade because I wanted to add more pinks to my collection. And this one is a more fuchsia pink, and it's got like a blue cyan sort of shimmer to it, and it's really, really intense and beautiful. So all of these ones, I again applied it with Concrete Minerals electric primer underneath it, so that you know, you could see the difference between what it looks like dry and what it looks like with an eye primer. I generally, with my loose eyeshadows, always wear a primer because I've got eyelids, just to help it set in place, but also because I feel like it gives a more intense finish, which I like. So yeah, so for example, the look I'm doing today, I use the Femme Fatale eyeshadow primer. So those were my favorites from my indie brand collection of loose eyeshadows, and overall I'm really happy with my collection. Of course I could always add more to it because I'm just amazed by the colors that you can get out there, and the sort of, yeah, just the pricing is good, the colors are amazing, and they're so different and unique, and you don't really find them elsewhere. The one thing I would mention is that because they're loose eyeshadows, of course they're a little bit messy, so it would help to like have something like spatula and then like a mixing palette to apply them so that it doesn't get all over your table. I guess that's the pros and cons to it. They have beautiful colors and the price is good. On the con side, they can be very messy, as with all loose pigments and eyeshadows, and packaging isn't the best, but you know what? I still love them because the color and the pigment payoff is just amazing. So I hope you found that useful, and please leave any comments if you have tried these brands, what your favorite shades are, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
It's recording.
It's recording. Everyone, hello. I had a voice change, so now my voice sounds like this. I hope you don't mind.